Hi guys, and welcome back to Karting with Sean. In today's video I'm on track with my family for a Sunday night 3-for-2 session. And honestly it was the most fun I've had in a go-kart in so long, so please stick to the end of the video to watch all the action. So let's not waste any more of your time and get straight into it. After receiving the green flag signalling the start of the session, I am met by this massive people here. But before any moves can be made, we're shown the red light for the light test. But no one wants to see that, so let's skip it. And just like it's magic, we're back to yellow flags, and oh, what's happened here? Seems like people don't want to be moving. They probably can't see the lights, to be honest, but yeah, at least I'll close the gap. But you'll see in a second the various lines that people are taking through this corner. You've got some people going really shallow, some people go really wide, some people going really wide on the exit, just like that person there. But if this queue ahead isn't telling you how much chaos is going to be caused in these next 3 sessions, then I do not know what to tell you. Just please carry on watching and you will see what I'm on about. And I mean chaos in a good way, by the way. But going back to green flags now, I send an absolute dive on the inside of that car and hopefully going for a dive here, but I get blocked on the apex, allowing these guys to slip through. But I keep it to the outside, going past 2 here, keeping it, and that's the position gained. And yes, I know it's only a public session, overtakes don't matter, but come on, everyone likes an overtake every now and then. Ahead of us now is this driver in the red suit who has an absolute horror of an exit at the bottom of the downhill. And because of how much better my exit was, it allows me to reel him in going into the double hairpins and send a move on the inside. Might have been a bit cheeky, but we go for a switch back here and I do not manage to pull it off, unfortunately. But he tries to move on the inside of this car here, but there was absolutely no space there for him. So I get side by side with him for just a second, but get blocked by car 7 here. Luckily I just managed to squeeze past and claim the apex here going for the uphill. And before I know it there is even more chaos. But after somehow not crashing in any of that, like these guys do here, I managed to get a position there and another one. And I almost have a look on the inside of the red suit there. But his line is alright, could be better, but who am I to judge, I guess. But I have a look down the inside here and I get cut off. That ain't great. I don't think I've ever spun in this section of the track before, so actually being right at the bottom of the down ramp was pretty sketchy. But shout out to Mango here for getting me out of the barrier. But after the first yellow flags of session being caused by me nonetheless, I get the jump on cart 9 here and I have a look for a switch back here. But they block my exit and I start to have a look around the outside of this left-hander here. Now they must have applied some braking here because I managed to absolutely fly past them for the right-hander, ignored the line there, that was horrific, but that's another move completed. But for now, it actually looks like I've got some clean air. I was trying so hard to get some laps in clean air in this session because it was prime conditions at TeamSport Coventry to set PBs. But ultimately I didn't beat my PB, but I did get close. However, keep an eye out on my channel because there's a video coming up soon where I may or may not have beaten it. Unfortunately I don't get a whole lap of clean air as I'm met by this back marker here who takes quite a shallow line going into this hairpin. Unfortunately I do give him a bit of a bumper tap there, but I wave my hand to apologise and I get past him quickly. A couple of corners later I'm met by 3 more back markers. And once again, because I had a better exit at the bottom of the down ramp, I ended up reeling them in on this bottom section. I had a look to the inside there, but I just couldn't make it stick. But I try another switch back here, but I can't quite get the acceleration, so they managed to keep their position. But I now managed to close the gap on both drivers ahead, and managed to make this move past one of them. Do I have a look around the inside here? I do. Do I outbrake them? No, I don't. They go wide. Oh, that's a bit of carnage there. And I end up taking this corner really wide because I thought I was going to get straight lined then. But I managed to secure that position, and I am now once again into clean air. Or so I thought. Now we're approaching just a couple more back markers, and that is that's an accident. So we go back to yellow flags as a marshal tries to sort that out. At this point I obviously forgot that this was a public session, and I have this person here on my right who I can't quite remember who it was, try and cut me up the inside under yellow flags. So I was like, no, you're not getting past me. Luckily, not too much later, we go back to green flags, and I immediately get the jump on these 2 back markers who have obviously had a bad reaction but are sitting on the racing line, so they're compromising me all the way through this top section. But car 6 has a look at the inside, reacts to them yellow flags and slams on their brakes, which catches me off guard. And that is the reason for the yellow flags. Not quite sure what the 20 was doing there, but oh well. Going back to green flags now, the 20 has had a compromised exit from that cart on their inside, so I've managed to close the gap up to them quite significantly. And actually I've closed that much that I've had to move up the inside there. But they still managed to keep their nose in it as I'm fighting with the 6. I managed to close them off just before we go onto the down ramp. We have the 10 on the outside here, and I think I've said this in videos before, but that is a sketchy place to overtake going down the down ramp. But it's another move done and we move on to the cart ahead. I catch them quite a lot here in the braking as they make a massive slide and I shove it up the inside. That is one of my favourite moves I've ever done, I think. But who would have guessed it? Even more back markers. Now as you're about to see going into turn 1, you've got cart 16 in front and they take a really shallow line, so I go wide and hope for a switchback, which I kind of complete, but they still manage to keep their nose in, but they back out just in time. And now I'm trying to catch the carts ahead. Now we see them two battle ahead and the cart on the outside gets a compromised exit at that corner, allowing me to gain a load of time on them. Now I've had a better exit from the cart in front again on this downstairs section. That cart in front, number 11, is actually my uncle. I try and have a look at the inside there, but I don't make the move stick. Now I try to switch back into these chicanes and yeah, another lovely switchback made. Now we're on the back of cart 9, which was kind of unpredictable, so I ended up just rear-ending them. My apologies. But now it's time to catch more people in front. We've now caught up to the guy in the red suit again, with the person in the pink suit letting us go, I think. We have pretty equal exits on the down ramp this time, and he manages to keep the gap going into the downstairs section. Now coming into the double hairpins, I managed to gain some time on him and the braking, as you can see from here. I'm practically now on his bumper, which makes me think I'm going to have a go on the inside here, which I give it a go, and that was a bit scrappy, so I let him go, and hopefully we can carry on our race. The reason I tried that is because I often get people try and make that move on me during sessions and races at TeamSport Coventry. So I thought, why not give it a go on someone else, see how it feels like. Obviously I still got a lot of practicing to do there. But for now, the red suit guy keeps his gap and we continue our battle. Now once again, coming into the double hairpins, I'm gaining more time on him in the braking. Now I obviously have a significant advantage through here as I know this track quite well. It's just a shame that that's probably my worst section on this track. But once again I've gained more time on him on coming onto the pit straight as he starts to increase the gap once again coming up the hill. I think my knowledge of the braking zones on this track is significantly helping me in this battle, and oh.
It's alright mate, you can't park this, huh?
I know I can't park it.
All jokes aside, my battle with 14 is still going on as we quickly go from reds to yellows, so I slow down quite a lot, allowing the 14 to gain quite a big gap. I think he slows down a lot to let me catch up, but I don't know if he saw me or not, who knows. But here is the reason for the yellows. Someone else has done exactly what I've done pretty much, spinning on the apex of the down ramp. But that is actually the end of our first session. After a relatively eventful first session of the Sunday evening, I ended up P1 with a lap time of 43.396. A couple tenths off my PB, but we're getting there slowly but surely.
What happened to you down at the bottom there? The slow? I kept looking down, I was catching up to you fast.
I got cut off.
Thank you. Come down fast. Because I've seen you there.
Yeah.
Mate, if you look to the left, innit, at the right time, at least you drifted round you, innit?
I tell you what, that's the best time I've done in ages.
I said that's the best time I've ever done.
I'll take that. Very good, very nice.
Now let's get into the action of the second session. I was quite late coming out of the pits here, that's where you can see people lapping us already. So I already know I'm going to be in for quite a bit of traffic at the start of this session. But luckily, because I was one of the last ones out of the pits, we were very quickly to the green flag. I get bumped a bit on the rear there, but I'm right on the back of this 21. Now I try to set up a switchback here by keeping to the outside of this 21, thinking they're going to go wide here, which they do, but they also make a bit of an error, making life just that bit easier for me. Next up are these two here. Now they look like they're having a bit of a scrap, so I'm going to try and get involved. I make up a solid bit of time here on the brakes, and here as well. But just as I try and set up a move, we go to yellows for a big incident here. There looks to be about 5 or 6 carts here, so God knows how tense this fight must have been with them. After a cheeky little dance break, we're going to get back into the action, but this time with a hell of a lot more traffic than before. Let's see how I managed to navigate myself around these. And straight off the green flag, I get the jump on these 2 carts here, allowing me to slip up the inside. But that cart there managed to stay side by side with me all the way down this down section and keeps their position until they make that error. Now this here looks like it's going to be a mess. We have 4 carts in front of us. The 9 and the 7 have a bit of a tangle, and I managed to get past the 9. I try and hang it around the outside of the 7 here, but I get closed out by the 10 having an accident and this cart just squeezing me against the wall. Luckily I still managed to keep my position and I'm back on fight with the 7. I think about sending a move up the inside here, but judging by how the move went last session, I end up backing out of it. And luckily the 7 gets a bit oversteer in the exit, allowing us to go side by side for just a second. Usually in public sessions I'm quite good in this corner by catching people under braking, but it helps a lot more when they do that and this. But we carry on going side by side throughout this top section as I'm hanging it around the outside, which then turns into the inside. That means I can completely shut them out and gain a position. And I'm glad I made that move when I did, because we now go to red flags. And obviously the 7 just doesn't care and overtakes me again. And another one. Going back to yellow flags now, and as we get ready to go green, I'm going to try and focus on overtaking those 2 again. And here we go. Thanks to that collision between the 2, I go side by side with the 7, hanging it around the outside. Not sure if they see me because we make a bit of contact, and I dive it up the inside, and once again, that move, I need a hell of a lot more practice on that. That wasn't great. Unfortunately, I can't quite remember who was in cart 7, but if you end up seeing this video, I do apologise for that. That was quite bad on my behalf. But now we focus on the battle with 9. We go side by side here just a little bit, and I'm hanging it around the outside trying to set up a switchback, which I succeed at. I do love a good switchback through that corner, as you'll see in this video. I do it quite a few times. But we go back to yellow flags for this incident here at the bottom of the down ramp. And that was my cousin's partner, Grant, who was in the wall there, so I show him a cheeky hang loose just for a bit of showing off. And he was racing in cart 8. Make sure you remember that, because he will be coming up again in this video. But back to green flags now, and guess what? There is more traffic to deal with. And let's just see how quickly I can catch up to them as well. Well, that was a hell of a lot quicker than I thought it'd be. I'm already on the rear of this 20 here as I have a look for the inside of this down ramp, make a bit of contact, so I apologise and send it up the inside. That's one out of the way. Now let's chase the person in front. And actually this person in front is my cousin Laura, so let's see how quickly I can catch up to her. I can make up quite a bit of time through here. She misses the apexes of the hairpins. And she takes a really shallow line into here, which gives her a really wide exit and allows me to get right on the bumper of her cart. I then gain more time under braking here, allowing us to go side by side through most of this top section. I try and keep it a bit wider here, looking for the switchback, which I almost succeed at, but she has the weight advantage and the straight line speed. At the bottom of the down ramp, she locks the brakes and goes really deep into the exit, so I show her a little cheeky hang loose. Shout out to Perico. And my next victim here is my uncle. I don't believe that sign was for me. I don't actually know what it said, to be honest, but let's see how quickly we can catch him now. The thing I love about racing your family is the absolute ego boost it gives you. Because unfortunately they're not as experienced as I am around this track, it makes it so easy for me to get around them. Well, it's easy in most cases. Lauren actually put up a pretty good defence in our last battle there before she locked up at the down ramp. But guess what I'm about to do here? I go wide here and I'm looking for another switchback, and it's another cheeky hang loose. Luckily I made the move just before these yellow flags. After the green flags I was treated to some clean air and I almost had one whole lap of no traffic. Unfortunately I did manage to catch up with this person in the pink suit here. As I take a really shallow line to this corner, I thought there'd be a gap there and I had to slam on the brakes as that door was immediately shut. But coming up to the final corner now, they take it really wide, which allows me to get up there inside. I try and set up a switchback here, but unfortunately we go to yellow flag, so I couldn't quite pull it off. Back to green flag conditions now, and we've managed to somehow catch a bunch of people. Once again, they take that really shallow line, but they do not close the gap this time. So I managed to sneak my nose up there and in the apex of this corner, but just can't make the move done. But I get it done here under braking. You might have heard there my little celebration. I was actually quite chuffed for that move. But now focusing on this group of three in front, this 21 has a massive snap for oversteer, so I can't quite perform the switchback. And they hold a good defensive line through this section until they end up spinning, which is quite fortunate. Next up is this person in kart 1 who goes incredibly deep into this corner, allowing me to easily get past them. And then next up is the 8, which is Grant. Please ignore the screaming now, I don't know why I did it. Oh, what's he doing? Cheeky bugger tried to brake check me as I give him a couple of taps. You can see here he goes to the right to take a defensive line, but I'm taking a racing line and I catch him a hell of a lot more under braking. I try and have a look for a switchback, but once again holds that defensive line. He gets shown a board there, not quite sure what it said. I go wide here looking for another switchback, which he once again covers fairly well. And then he tries to drive me into the wall, the cheeky son. Luckily I managed to sneak past him with, oh no, he's still there. No, that's it. That's the move done. Thankfully after that battle I had no one in front of me for a while, so I had a good few laps of clean air. But that now brings us to the end of the second session. I also ended the session in P1 with the best lap of 43.784. Unfortunately straying further away from my PB time, but let's see how we get on in the next session. As we now go green for the final session of the evening, I've managed to leave quite a big gap to the person in front of me. The reason I did this was because, as you've seen, there has been very minimal time to get a good solid lap in because of how much traffic there is and how many back markers. So I thought I'd leave a nice space here so I can try it and get one in. And luckily for me, I did manage to get a good lap in, and it was actually the quickest time I set this evening, so let's skip to the start of it. Now I know it's an obvious thing to say, but the start of your flying lap starts at the final corner of your out lap. That's why you see the corner after the up ramp. I use as much track as I can. I then continue to take this top section completely flat out, not lifting or braking once until I get to this down ramp here where I was at braking now, flick it in, keeping it nice and close to the apex. Once again, this section can be taken flat out until we get to the double hairpins here. And as I've mentioned in videos before, this is a section I struggle with the most, as my car seems to bog down around here on the exit of the second hairpin. But after the revs pick up, we keep it flat till about here where I lift a little bit and I'm back full throttle. And then keeping that full throttle all the way up the ramp. And it's about here where I stamp on the brakes for a split second whilst I flip the kart in and I straight line it towards the start finish line. Unfortunately I was still a couple tenths off my PB, but it was my fastest time of the evening. After another lap we catch up with these two back markers here. I thought this pink suit here was going to be setting up a switchback, but they ended up just going deep into the corner. This allows me to stay side by side with them throughout most of the section until here where I sneak it up the inside and gain the position. Next up is kart 12 and let's see how I deal with them. You might have heard there, they locked up the brakes on the bottom of the downhill and they went really deep out of the exit. I then took my opportunity up the inside and they closed the gap and we made a little bit of contact, but there's still another position made. Now we've caught up to the back of kart 15 through this top section. I can tell by how wide they've taken that exit that they're going to go deep in this corner, so I set up a nice and easy switchback for another move made. Now we pretty much get a case of deja vu here as the kart in front locks up their brakes, goes really wide and I'm able to sneak up the inside of them once again, same thing that happened the lap earlier. Now I've caught back up to the guy in the red suit here, and I'd say he was probably the guy that was closest to my lap times in this session. But as he manages a nice move on the kart 9, I actually end up sticking behind them for a while as I can't seem to get past them. This means the red suit can open quite a nice gap between the two of us. And you can already see at this section here how much time he's managed to make up on us. We see their kart 9 have a snap of oversteer, so I try and look around the outside, then the inside, but no move can be made. Again, a lot of time here under braking, and I try and look for another switchback, which I almost pull off, but we stick side by side once again through this section. And now we've got another case of deja vu. They go shallow on their exit here, which gives them a wide exit there, allowing me to shove it up the inside and I get the move done at the bottom of the down ramp. Now my mission is to try and catch back up to the guy with the red suit. But now he's put a back marker between us, and they actually go quite deep on their exit now, allowing me to take it up the inside, and we go side by side through this section here. That is until they outpace me. And you'll see here they end up making quite a crucial error, allowing us to go side by side once more. I try and go for another switchback, which I very slowly make. A lap later, and I've managed to close the gap quite a lot to go in the red suit, thanks to him being held up by back markers. We managed to form quite a nice train through this section, but as the car ahead makes a little bit of error there, I sneak it around the outside, getting another move quickly done, and now we are right on the bumper of 14. I see he's left quite a nice gap here on the outside, so I take it, but unfortunately he closes the door and I don't have enough space. We try hanging around the outside there, and that's a bit of contact between him and the 8, which is Grant. This is where things get tricky, but not in a bad way. We end up having a couple of these battles with Grant, and yeah, you're about to see what happens. I'm going to put the blame on myself for this incident here. I should have known that he was going to cut across and not follow a designated racing line of sort. But at least all the drivers that were involved were okay, and honestly it was a bit of fun. You could see me there wedged under the barrier pretty much. But now that we're out of that tangle, I let Grant go in front so we can continue our battle and maybe have a bit more fun along with it too. But now going back to green flags, it seems like Grant has actually got the jump on me here, as he's now on the rear end of that back marker in front of him. And he actually makes a fairly solid move here. Now we didn't quite catch it on camera, but I gave a thumbs up there to the person behind me, who was Adam, who I met on the night, and was actually a really good driver. They had a quite good send up the inside there, but unfortunately couldn't pull it off. But now we've got to find a way around car 16. They once again go deep into the hairpin, and we go side by side. I'll try and look for a switchback, but they close the gap on the inside, so I try and leave it around the outside. Fortunately they have the acceleration on the exit to keep the pace there. I have a look on the inside once again, but I guess I've learned from my previous mistakes. We've both now caught up to the back of Grant, and I send a move up the inside here as I see the gap, and that is another move done. Now I've just got to try and find my way around Grant here without crashing, like he almost puts me in the wall there. Yes, I threw my hands up, but it wasn't that bad. I gain an absolute load of time through it. He makes an absolutely massive error at the bottom of the down ramp. Coming into the double hairpins, Grant makes a massive error and I almost send him sideways, and here is Adam on the outside of me. He tries to look for a switchback but unfortunately doesn't make it, and you see Grant now weaving to defend. I mean, if this was F1 you'd get penalised for that, but it's not. This is public session at TeamSport Coventry. There are basically no rules. But there you see Adam absolutely fly past me. It was an absolutely brilliant move made by him. But now everything gets calmed down thanks to these yellow flags. I give him a little thumbs up there to say great move and let him get in front again as we go back to green and racing. And that was Lauren there. I swear she was trying to take my head off with that absolutely insane move. Kind of reminded me of a certain F1 driver. Can't think of who though. Back to the action now, and Grant is having a defence of a light on as he gets nudged a bit by Adam there, and I send up the inside of Adam. And Grant spins, and that is another incident between the two of us. Well, I say Grant spins, I kind of nudged him into a spin once again. But that was, honestly, this session was so chaotic but so fun at the same time. There must have been another incident on track as well, because these yellows stayed out for quite a while, but now we go back to green flags. And I get a nice little jump on kart 7 and try and send it around the outside of 21. Unfortunately I can't quite make it work, but that's 7 back into the action as we go side by side up the up ramp. And I keep my position into the final corner. Almost had a very similar accident there with the 21 like I did with Grant, and that is the checkered flag and signifies the end of the session. I once again finished this session P1 with the best lap of a 43.186. That's about 3/10 off my PB at the time. But that is it for this video, and honestly, as I've said a lot in this video, I enjoyed this session so much. It's one of them sessions that makes you realise and remember why you fell in love with this hobby in the first place. It's like, not all of it has to be taken seriously. Most of it is just fun to be had with friends and family. All I can say now is thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and keep your eye out on my channel, because I've got a few more videos coming up. I've got a couple more videos that I'm editing in a minute that are at TeamSport Coventry. Yes, I know I've done a lot at TeamSport Coventry, but soon I'm planning on going to TeamSport Nottingham, which is a track I haven't been to before, in the next few weeks. So keep your eyes peeled for that, and there's also an outdoor track video coming soon. But yeah, like I said, keep your eyes peeled, and I'll see you soon.